JT Miller does it all himself. A hat trick, his second of his career for JT Miller as the trade value. Look at it climb. Look at it climb. It is the opposite of the stock market right now, as JT Miller with all three of the Canucks' first three goals, he obviously gets the game winner. Canucks win 5-1, and I think have swept the Jets thus far this season. I don't know if they've played them. I don't know if they're done playing them, but I think they're 3-0 against the Jets this year, which is crazy because the Canucks are never winning in what is now Canada Life Center, where the Winnipeg Jets play, formerly MTS or whatever it was called before. But it is a big win for the Vancouver Canucks, a crucial win, as we're getting to that point where the other teams in the division are now winning games. We're seeing Edmonton putting some wins together. We're seeing Calgary putting some wins together. Edmonton beat the Canucks just a few nights ago. The Canucks need to start getting some wins. They'll take on the Flames in a couple nights, and the Blackhawks, two big games that they'll need to get points out of. So as always, we will break down this game. I will give you my thoughts, my opinions, and then we'll go to you, the people, your thoughts in the comments as we go. So if you have any questions based on this game, now's a good time to get them in the comments section. They'll be near the top, and then I will probably get to them. So let's break it down really quick. It's Spencer Martin in net for the Vancouver Canucks. Connor Hellebuyck, the Canuck killer, in net for the Winnipeg Jets. Conor Garland returning to the lineup, playing with Höglander and Pettersson. And then the Canucks power play gets its first chance, like 13 minutes into this game, and it only takes 10 seconds for them to score. Elias Pettersson plays it down to Brock Besser. JT Miller does a really nice job to find some open space, gets the quick pass, beats Hellebuyck. It's 1-0 Vancouver. But a problem with the Canucks lately has been holding leads, and it came up again tonight where the Jets scored just over 2 minutes later, 2 minutes and 9 seconds to be exact. Canucks can't get the puck out of the zone. A weird shot deflection ends up in the air, and a really nice goal by Kopp. He literally just swings at it right about sort of midsection height, bats it into the net. Tough one for Spencer Martin. Not an easy save to make when the puck is batted out of the air, but it's 1-1. Shots in the first period, 14-10 in favor of your Vancouver Canucks. We go to the second period. The Jets almost take the lead early. They catch a post, and then the Canucks get their second of the game, and it's JT Miller once again. It's Brock Besser coming in down the left wing. Podkolzin goes in deep to create some space, pull a defender down, which leaves the pass across to JT Miller. He beats Connor Hellebuyck, makes it 2-1 Vancouver. The Jets go to their first power play as Highmore goes off for a trip. It's a good kill for the Canucks. The Canucks have struggled on the penalty kill a lot lately. They don't allow a power play goal tonight, which is huge. Then they take another penalty like right as this one ends. Dumb play by Tyler Myers, just cross-checking a guy in the back like 4 feet from the boards. They're calling that every time now. You can't be doing that, Tyler. But hey, Canucks again survive it. And JT Miller is on Hattie watch. He's in on a 2-on-1 with Vasily Podkolzin. That fails, and then 15 seconds later, the exact same shift, he walks into the zone and literally just shoots a low shot 5-hole. Hellebuyck's slow to react. It beats him between the wickets, and it's a hat trick for JT Miller, his third of the night. 3-1 Canucks lead. We go to the third. The Canucks almost score 30 seconds in. A Conor Garland sort of floater gets tipped by Elias Pettersson and hits the post. And the Canucks get another power play, their second of the night, and it's Brock Besser this time just 7 seconds in. The first power play, 10 seconds. The second one, 17 seconds. So the Canucks were on the power play for a total of 17 seconds tonight, and they were 2-for-2. A point shot hit JT Miller. He got a little shaken up on the play, but Brock Besser sort of spins around, chops the rebound in, and it's 4-1. Besser goes to the box. Chance for Winnipeg to try to get back in it on the power play, at least get within 2. Spencer Martin made a sick diving save for no real reason. Didn't look like he had to do it, but he did. Luke Shen got in a fight with Adam Lowry for a hit on Quinn Hughes. And then the Canucks make it 5-1, 6 minutes to go. Neil Pionk gets hurt by a Conor Garland shot, effectively putting the Canucks on their third power play of the night because Winnipeg didn't touch it, so they couldn't get a whistle, leaving Elias Pettersson wide open. A nice cross-ice pass for Myers, and an absolutely perfect shot from Elias Pettersson, who now has like 7 points in the last 6 games, I think. He has been on fire lately. He gets up to his 11th of the season, which doesn't sound that great. Remember, he had like 6 or 7 just a couple of weeks ago. So great shot from Pettersson. And the Canucks take this one 5-1. And it's been a while since the Canucks have really just sort of taken over a game, right? This game was never really in doubt. The Canucks were up the entire way. They never lost the lead. I mean, you know, they held the lead for 2 minutes in the first period, but they never let Winnipeg score another goal. So let's go into my pluses, my minuses, basically my thoughts on the game. Of course, we're going to start with the pluses, and I'm going to add some more. First one, Spencer Martin is a king. How many shots did he save tonight? 33 of 34 shots. It's a .971 save percentage on the night. Coming into this game, Spencer Martin had a .952. That's going up. So he's probably now at like a .958, something around there. An excellent performance from Spencer Martin, who lots of people in the chat are saying makes Halak a bit redundant here. And that's fair. Again, it's all up to Halak whether he wants to get moved or not, because he has a no move clause. So they can't even send him to the AHL as like a negotiating move. It's either he plays or he doesn't, or they trade him. Which, I mean, at this point, if Spencer Martin can play like this, I think you're pretty happy with him between the pipes. Obviously, JT Miller is a plus in this one. The Hattie for Timothy. And 3 solid goals, right? And it's a game where Miller, only a second game back after being on protocol, comes in and just decides to score some goals. And I mean, there's not much else I can say about that. I was on Save on Foods score and win watch. I was hoping, he had the hat trick just 32 minutes in or so, 33 minutes in. So hoping maybe, get one more, maybe an empty netter if the score stays the same, it's still 3-1, and win someone 100K, maybe a mil. Doesn't happen, but hey, a good game for Miller at the very least. And the big thing about this, and I put it in the chat at the start, I asked the poll. I'm going to cut the poll now. 103 votes. It's going to take a sec to load up because YouTube is slow like that. Come on, show me the poll results. I just hit end. Show me the results. I said, do you trade JT Miller for a bunch of stuff? Right? Because at this point, this value, the trade value has got to be great, right? We're talking about a guy who's got 15 goals already this year, on pace for 30 plus, especially if he keeps playing like this. And he's been the best player on the Canucks this year. And any team would be so stoked to have him. And his contract is so cheap for this year and next year. 52% saying no, 47% saying yes, with just over 100 votes. Look, it's easy to be all like, okay, let's, the JT Miller's sick. We want to keep this guy. But I mean, in 2 years, the Canucks aren't going to be able to afford him. And at this point, man, he's going to have a lot of people lined up with a lot of things on the table. I saw some people saying they're going to trade him to the Rangers for a first-round pick, Lafreniere, Panarin, and the 1994 Stanley Cup banner. That sounds like a fair trade to me. So I think Patrick Allvin might want to get Chris Drury on the phone there. The Canucks came into this game. They showed a stat after JT Miller's third goal, and it is the Canucks have only lost one game this year in which they have scored 3 goals. And that's a real testament to their goaltending, right? When their goaltender, or when the Canucks are scoring 3 or more goals, the goaltenders are usually not allowing 3 goals, and they were like 13-1 or 14-1 after scoring 3 goals in a game. That stat goes up a little bit tonight. They just need to score more goals. That has been their problem for the last couple of weeks here, is that they're getting into games where they're just not finishing shots. They're getting enough shots. We saw that game against Florida where they had 44 shots, and I think they scored 1 of them. They need to get more pucks in the net. And tonight, pucks were going in the net. And that's lucky against a goalie like Connor Hellebuyck, who is one of the best in the NHL. But the Canucks get those to go. They just need to score more goals. 3-0 against Winnipeg or something like that. The Calgary Flames lost tonight. That is big. At least they're going to, right? Yeah, they lost 5-1. Anaheim won. Sick goal by Zegras, by the way. But unfortunate that Anaheim won. And it looks like Nashville and Edmonton are tied going into the third period, which could be a problem. You want Nashville to win that game outright, so the Oilers get no points. And it looks like the Kings won as well. Also unfortunate. But Vegas lost. So out-of-town scoreboard, kind of mediocre for the Vancouver Canucks tonight. Other pluses, special teams. Special teams were really good tonight. They were perfect, right? Canucks go 2 for 2 on the power play. Like I said, 2 goals in just 17 seconds of power play time. And the penalty kill goes 3 for 3. You don't see that very often from this team, with the worst penalty kill in the NHL. But that'll be a nice little boon for them. Last plus, Canadian men national team beat Honduras in Honduras. First time they've done that in like 37 years. Looks like they're going to the World Cup, baby. Let's go. Let's go to the minuses. A couple of minuses. I thought Pug Colson had a pretty bad first period. His decision-making wasn't great. There was one play where he went in too tight when he could have had a decent shooting opportunity. His passing was a little bit off the mark. Him and Höglander really, I don't think, played that much, right? Höglander played 14:22. Pug Colson played 13:06. So their ice time did go up a little bit. Keep in mind, They had a pretty comfortable lead for most of this game. No Canucks forwards over 20 minutes tonight. Miller and Mott were both at 18 minutes. Meanwhile, the defense, Tucker Poolman went out with an injury. That's my next minus. Only played 8 minutes tonight, leaving the rest of the boys having to fill in a lot of ice time. Brad Hunt seeing almost 20 minutes of ice time tonight. The one positive from that, the Abbotsford squad is also in Manitoba right now, apparently. Could be a decent opportunity for a guy like Jack Rathbone to get called up. We'll see where that goes. But, they might need to fill Tucker Poolman's spot because he did not return. I think he did take a quick lap at the start of the second period, but he did not make it back in. And then there was one bad play by Jason Dickinson, where the Canucks were hemmed in for 2 minutes, and then Dickinson, there was a missed pass that went past him. He just sort of swiped at it and completely missed it instead of just skating 2 strides to it and clearing it out of the zone. I didn't like that. Good thing that the Jets didn't score on that. Otherwise, I would have been really going hard on that. But either way, that's kind of it for my minuses in this game. The Canucks played a really solid game. It was a game where we've talked about how the Canucks have been outplaying teams analytically, except for that last game against Edmonton. But for most of the last while, they've been dominating teams analytically and still losing some games because their scoring isn't converting. Tonight was a bit of a regression on that, where they didn't play that great analytically. It was about 50-50. If you look at expected goals, for example, if we look at high danger chances, they were 15-11 in favor of Vancouver. Corsi was basically even. Expected goals were 53-47 in favor of the Jets. Basically a dead even game. But the Canucks were getting shots to go in and the Jets weren't. Expected goals for the Jets, 3.17, and they only score 1 goal. So it's another 2 goals saved expected for Spencer Martin, who has been so good. All right, let's get to your comments, your questions, your takes for the next little bit here. And if you have any questions, feel free to throw them in now, but the farther down you go, the less likely I get to it. So let's scroll all the way up to the top, and there's a lot of talk about Spencer Martin saying, Christopher DeMarco saying, should Martin replace Halak as the Canucks backup goalie? I think he's played him out of a job. Again, Halak has been really good this year. The team hasn't scored in front of him. He's got a 915. If you can find a trade partner for Halak, I think you seriously look into it. The problem is Halak has to agree to it. And so there's not much speculating we can do until we know whether or not Jaro Halak will waive his no movement clause. So we don't know. Zach saying if we trade Miller, the return has got to be massive. And I think it will be. Again, I think the Canucks have added a lot of smart people to their front office. They see the value that JT Miller has. There's going to be a lot of people in the NHL calling to see what it's going to take to get him. And it's going to be a lot of stuff. It's going to be at least a first and a top prospect and maybe a little more at this point, since he keeps seeming to drive that value up. Dave, you saying, I think I've seen enough. Spencer Martin's an NHL goalie. Fair enough. Blitz saying Spencer Martin for Vezina. Hey, if he plays the rest of the season, if he plays 30 more games, which hopefully doesn't happen because Demko's back, and keeps up a 960 save percentage, then yeah, he'll win the Vezina. Aisha saying the no answer to my poll, which was, should the Canucks trade JT Miller at this point, is purely emotional, she says. And I think that's pretty fair, right? I think if JT Miller has a bad game in 2 nights, I think lots of people are like, oh, JT Miller, what are you doing? And I think it sort of flips back. We're very emotional people at this point. Debut saying, did you see that it was Miller that went and got the puck for Martin when no one else noticed? JT, even after a hat trick, still focused on his teammates. That's great. I love to see it. And again, Miller had every right to take that puck for himself with the way he played tonight. But good on him. And yeah, Spencer Martin's first win, which you guys are pointing out, and I somehow missed and forgot about it. Yeah, his first win as a member of the Canucks and the first win of his NHL career. He came into this game with an 0-2-3 career record, more OTLs than anything else. And now he gets his first career win, and his career save percentage went from the 800s, and it's going to be league average after tonight's game, which is excellent to see. Steel Dog saying Martin sure looks calm between the pipes. Fully agree. One saying sell Miller high. I mean, hey, I've been talking about how, hey, you have Miller for 1 more year on this contract that's cheap. You could just trade him next year and get maybe less value, but still decent value. But hey, the way Miller's playing right now, I don't know if you're going to get a better peak out of JT Miller than right around now. And again, hopefully he keeps it up for a while, closer to the trade deadline, and we'll see how she goes. Zach saying the trade value for Miller is the highest he'll get right now, as awesome as he is. And as much as I'd be sad to see him go, I think it would be foolish not to trade him. Yeah, especially when the rumors are like a first and a top prospect, right? We're talking about ideally a prospect who will eventually develop into maybe someone like JT Miller. Again, not for sure, but we're talking about a player who is likely picked in the top half of the first round. If we're talking about a top prospect, right, we might be talking about a future first or second line player, and a first round pick. And again, if you want to be a contending team, you need players on cheap contracts, on entry level deals, to be performing for your team. And that's the potential to maybe get two of them. Again, it's tough though, because of how good JT Miller is and how big of a piece of this team that he is. Ryan saying we should keep riding Martin even when Demko's back. Let's treat him like a backup until he proves us wrong. We shouldn't keep riding Martin because Demko's still a better goalie, in my opinion. Martin's in a heater right now, and that's great. However, I'm not forgetting about who Thatcher Demko is, who is absolutely phenomenal. We're talking about a top 10 goalie in the NHL and Thatcher Demko. Let's, Martin's been great, and he can replace Halak maybe again. But I still trust, Thatcher Demko in net against the Flames more than I do Spencer Martin. I'm saying, which Jonathan was better, Jonathan David or Jonathan Miller? That's tricky. Look, JT Miller scored 3 goals tonight. Jonathan David's goal was better than all 3 of those, maybe combined, and probably more important. So I'm going to lead towards Jonathan David, even though this is a Canucks-based show. Justin saying Miller and Martin are big stories tonight, but unnoticed story of the night is 6 points from the Canucks D. Is that right? I see Shen, OEL. That's 3. Hughes, Myers, Hunt. Yeah, that's pretty big. And 2 for Luke Shen. Let's go, Luke Shen. Luke Shen had a great night. 2 assists. Played pretty decently. Like, I didn't really notice him making mistakes or anything. Gets in a little bit of a scrap. Yeah, happy with Luke Shen's night for sure. Let's see here. I'm trying to pick the longer one. Sorry. I get kind of lost in all the comments and I get a little distracted. I'm going to scroll to the bottom really quick here and try to remember where I was because, Rain with a $1 super chat. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. No message included, but that's okay. Sam saying, what would you consider an acceptable pull the trigger price for Miller? Where do you foresee him heading to if traded? If we're talking about a first and a top prospect and maybe another piece, then I think you pull the trigger now. Like if we're talking about more value than we have seen rumored, then I think you pull the trigger. I saw a comment about, why don't you just wait till, I think it was from Stuart, why don't you just wait till the deadline to trade him? Well, what if the deadline comes and he hasn't scored a goal or he doesn't have any points in the last 6 games and he's in a bit of a slump? Then you're probably not going to get anything for him, right? And then you're waiting until next year and you're getting less value out of that because his contract's going to expire. The thing is, if we keep JT Miller for 2 years, we have to pay him, right? If we keep him past this year and next season, the Canucks are going to have to pay him, and they're going to have to pay him like $9 million a year. Right now he's making, under 6, which is a crazy, crazy steal. So I don't know. I think if you can get excess value, you take it. Because again, this team might make the playoffs, but they're not going to contend, right? Again, I am all for waiting though, to be completely honest. Let's see here. Scout says, other than all the things we already mentioned, he plays like a true leader and positively influences teammates around him. They're not easy to find and replace. I say we re-sign him in the summer if the contract number and year makes sense. Look, they're not going to be able to do that because you say if the contract number and year makes sense, that's going to be 7 or 8 years, probably, maybe 6. And it's probably going to be $9 to $10 million is what my guess would be. Again, I don't know. Might be 8.5. If it was 8.5, maybe I'm on board, but it's probably going to be like $9 million for like 6 years. And remember, that doesn't start next season. That starts the season after. So it's like 7 years. So you would be paying JT Miller $8 to maybe more $1 million until he's like 36 years old. And we're talking about a team that might not be contending for the next 2 years in the Vancouver Canucks, right? That's risky. That is how we get into these situations of overpaying aging players. And again, some players are good enough that they don't decline as much, right? But usually those are the really, really good players, right? We look at Alex Ovechkin, who's having the season of his life at whatever age he is, like 37 or whatever. But that's because he's literally one of the best goal scorers we've ever seen, right? It's the cream of the cream of the cream of the crop are the ones that, sort of defy age curves typically, and not the first line players, right? First line players will still have those declines. Again, I could be wrong, but I think it's going to be really expensive. And remember, you are choosing to re-sign him and pay him, $9 million for 6 or 7 years instead of getting a, first round pick, a top prospect, and maybe another piece, right? And again, you balance that out and there's a lot of cap implications, right? Because maybe you do that and then you have to, maybe you don't have the cap space to pay someone like Brock Besser or even Bo Horvat or someone along those lines. And then, so now you're losing, maybe Brock Besser and that first and that top prospect and that other pick just to keep JT Miller. And it starts to really swing again. If the Canucks were competing for a Stanley Cup, I say, yeah, you just ride Miller out because he's such a valuable player on such a cheap contract. But for the team right now, with how cheap his contract is, the Canucks aren't taking advantage of it, right? They just aren't, because they're also paying Tyler Myers $6 million and Oliver Ekman-Larsson, $7.5 million. And they're not at that caliber. So all the money you're saving on JT Miller is being wasted elsewhere. And that's not how you win a Stanley Cup. You win the Stanley Cup by getting the most value out of your players for your cap dollar, which the Canucks won't be able to do because they won't be contending until he's making twice as much money as he's making at this point, is my opinion. Let's see here. Kai saying, would you be surprised if Bruce rides Martin next game, even if Demko's ready? It seems Martin's locked in. Don't know if Demko would be rusty or needs a couple of practices. Well, I think so. He's already cleared, right? So he's cleared to play. So I imagine he skated today. And he probably will skate tomorrow. Again, I really think you play Thatcher Demko if you can, because again, the Canucks have a back-to-back Monday, Tuesday. And Halak is there. Yeah, no, they can't play Martin because they have to send him to the taxi squad. They genuinely can't, because if Demko is back, if Demko is on the roster before next game, they'll have 2 goalies on the roster in Demko and Halak, right? They could, I think you can carry 3 goalies, but I think you'd have to, send a different player to the taxi squad. I don't know how it works, if it's 2 goalies or if it's, just an X number of players. I don't remember. But if they only have 2 goalies on roster, then Martin wouldn't even be eligible to play at that point. Let's see here. Alter H saying having the top 6 back makes a huge difference. Who would have thought? Yeah. And it's nice that the players that scored tonight, it wasn't Mott and Lamico, which is great when they do score, but it shouldn't be the only people scoring. Again, only 3 people scored in Miller, Besser, and Pettersson, but those are your top 3 players on your team offensively. So, hey, good that they all contributed. Not like Besser's goal was a snipe or anything, but Pettersson's was. That's for sure. Lincoln saying, when we get Horvat back, I think that it's the right time to bring the Lotto line back for sure. Pettersson's back, Besser's playing better, and JT has always been back. Yeah, I think they'd probably be clicking again. And we saw it a little bit a couple nights ago or whatever that was, maybe the game before, which was great. I guess it was before. Yeah, no, it would have been I don't remember. My brain is mush. I think, yeah, they definitely could go back to it, especially if you have Horvat back to take that second line spot, put him with Garland and Höglander, or, Pearson when he's back. Pearson, definitely seems fine to me. Roadster saying, barring injury to Demko or Martin, Halak's not playing another game for the Canucks. If he wants that bonus, he's going to have to waive his no trade clause. It's genuinely not true. It's just not true. If he doesn't waive his no trade clause, then it's not a no trade clause. It's a no move clause, right? They have to have him on the roster if he's healthy. He has to be one of the Canucks 2 goalies if he's healthy. If the Canucks play back to back, which they do this week, 4 days from now, then he will play. And by the way, they have another back-to-back on February 8th and 9th, which would get him to the 10 games. And again, February 27th, 28th, right? They have a lot of back-to-backs coming up. They can't send him to the AHL because he has a no-move clause. They can't put him on waivers because he has a no-move clause. He is on the team unless he waives it. He will get his bonus here if he stays. It's genuine. It's that simple. Sonny saying, realistically, this is probably Miller's peak. He's nearing 30 with a contract due next year. The Canucks aren't cup contenders. It makes the most sense to trade him. I'll miss him though. Yeah. And again, it's so easy to put heart overhead here, right? We can, it's really easy to look at how good Miller has been and how much he's meant to this team. But if we want this team to win a Stanley Cup, the best move in that sense is probably to trade him while his value is high, because he's probably not a part of the long-term future for this team, right? If the Canucks are, let's say, a playoff team 1 or 2 years from now, and they are true Stanley Cup contenders like 3 or 4 years from now, again, wishful thinking the way we've seen this organization run in the past. We'll see how this new group does. But let's say 4 years from now, they're Cup contenders. JT Miller is 33 years old and making $8-9 million. It's probably, and he's probably not still scoring at an 80-point pace at that point. Let's see here. Kai saying also Lafreniere only getting 11 minutes tonight for the Rangers, and the Rangers are filled with left wingers. Yeah, it could be a little bit of laugh watch. Again, I think they'd be crazy for trading him this early. His development's been kind of rough though, because they've had him in the lineup and not playing a lot. He's a heck of a player. Let's see here. I'm going to skip a few. Debut says bump up the likes. That is a good point. Good point, Debut Hunter. You are a smart person. Let's see here. Jacob says, should we even watch, he meant to say watch, games if we can't make the playoffs? If you want to, they can make the playoffs. They're probably around like a 18% chance at this point. I didn't check where the Athletic had them going into tonight. I'll see if I can do that really quick and sort of fill time while I pull it up and scroll down to the Pacific Division. They're sort of 10% chance coming into the night. They probably move up to, I don't know, maybe like a 13, 14, because the Jets will go from 20 and they'll drop a bit. Let's say they have a 13% chance of making the playoffs. That's up to you. Do you want to watch the games? If you do, then watch the games. If you don't want to watch the games, don't watch the games. Do whatever you want. Unpair says the Dickinson misplay was because he got slashed in the face, but it seems everyone missed it. Clearly I did, because I didn't see that. But if he got slashed in the face, then my bad for calling it out. Samuel saying, Pettersson looked better while protecting the puck. 2 points is good to see. This is true. There was one really good play on the wall in the offensive zone where Elias Pettersson had 3 guys on him in the wall and sort of like shimmied back like 2 or 3 times and protected the puck and was able to try to play it back to the point. He got a stick lifted eventually, but hey, he protected it from 3 guys for a good couple of seconds and it looked really good. I think he had a really good game tonight. Lots of talk about Miller. I think we're going to wrap up the JT Miller talk. Agam saying, how does Hughes only have 2 goals? If he could improve his shooting, he'd be right with Makar. Yeah, Hughes doesn't have a hard shot. He has a fine shot. And he focuses more on getting it through. A lot of his shots get tipped, right? I'm not worried about Hughes scoring goals. I wonder what his shooting percentage is. Let's go to Quinn Hughes on NHL.com. I think that shows shooting percentage. He's shooting at 2.4%. So 1 out of every 25 shots. No, that's not right. 1 out of every 40 shots is going in for Quinn Hughes. That's luck at some point, right? We're at the point where the Canucks are having games where 1 every 40 shots goes in. Again, if he's shooting at like a 5%, that's only 2 more goals, right? He doesn't take a lot of shots. He averages 2 shots a game on net because a lot of his shots gets tipped. That's what he shoots for. He's not shooting to try to beat the goalie typically. He's throwing pucks at the net in hopes they get tipped or hope for rebounds. And that's what a D-man should be doing, right? A D-man shouldn't be shooting head height trying to beat the goalie top corner because you're going to kill somebody. You take hard, low shots, and if they sneak in, they sneak in. Otherwise, they get tipped and things are good. I think Hughes can be a little more aggressive at times, maybe. Like, like step in from the point and try to make some moves because he's really good at that. But hey, I'm not going to complain with the way he's playing. He's a plus 11 this year, and I think he was well in the minuses last year. He's got 32 points. He's on pace for 64 points this season. I guess he got one more point this game, so I don't know if that's included here yet. 33 points in 42 games. Basically, yeah, on pace for around 65 points, which is excellent. For a defenseman, that's crazy good. So I have no complaints on Quinn Hughes here. Let's see here. Agam saying, can we potentially see a Canada versus USA review or watch along? I think they play at noon on Saturday, and I think I'm busy. Of course, when you search Can MNT, Google doesn't just give you the schedule, which is really annoying. But I do think that I am definitely busy at noon if that's when they play. And it says 3 p.m., which I think is noon because I think it's Eastern time on the website. So no, you won't get that. Let's see here. Rain says thoughts on trying to sign Miller to a RNH style deal with low AAV, but long-term. The thing is he can get high AAV and long-term from other teams, right? There's going to be teams on the open market. If he goes to free agency, he's going to get offered, 6 or 7 years with that high dollar amount. So I don't think the Canucks have any advantage there. Kevin saying Halak's going to the taxi squad. I don't think they can send him to the taxi squad. I think that counts as a movement, although I don't know. No move clause taxi squad. Show me the CBA. Doesn't. Oh, I found it. Hold on. No move. Ooh, no, it's not here. Where's the? Ooh. Yeah, I can't. I'm not going to read the whole CBA here, but I don't think that that's allowed. Elias saying what happened to Poolman? He got hurt. So he's out. Hopefully not for long, but he's out. Let's see what else we got. Scout saying, I feel like we need to go like 13-3 to have a legit shot at playoffs before the deadline. I don't think they'd have to go that hot. Because if they were to go 13-3, because right now they're at 500, right? If they went 13-3, they would be 10 points above 500, which would make it basically so they would just have to go 500 the rest of the way to make the playoffs, right? Because basically you have to be 10 points over 500 to make the playoffs. That puts you around 92 points. You might need 94. But if they go 13-3, that would give them basically 20 games left and they'd only have to win 10 of them. I don't think they have to win that many before the deadline. I think if they went something like, 10-6 wouldn't be great, but maybe 10-5-1, just to make it sound a little better. And they'll be right on the edge potentially. And I think maybe you have a look, but it's, they definitely need to go on a bit of a hot streak here again, because they play some not great teams, right? They have the Blackhawks, then we'll have the Flames, which will be tough, then the Blackhawks, which should be easy, then the Predators, which will be tough, then the Coyotes, which should be easy, and the Islanders, which should be easy, and then the Leafs, which should be tough, and then the Sharks, which should be, maybe easy. They have some winnable games coming up here, though, right? They've got the Blackhawks, the Yotes, the Islanders, the Coyotes, who might be playing in a 5,000-seat arena next year, the Sharks, the Kraken. They have some winnable games coming up, and hopefully they can win those, because that's very important. Let's see here. Elias saying that Halak can't be placed on taxi squad because he need to be put on waivers, and the waivers isn't allowed. Okay. I didn't remember if waivers is required for taxi squad, but I guess that makes sense. And then RP saying, do you think Brandon Sutter is going to return eventually? Eventually. It might not be this year though. And I guess he's on a 1-year deal. So is he on a 1-year deal or did he get 2 by 1? Brandon Sutter. I did a video on this when it happened and he got a 1-year deal. So we might never see him again. But hopefully he's okay. And with that, I think we're at the bottom of the question list. So I think we'll wrap up there. But thank you guys for hanging out. Hit the like button, by the way, and make sure you're subscribed. We do this after almost every Canucks game. And some big ones coming up. Like I said, the Canucks play on Saturday. And I had a tab open with all of their games coming up. The Canucks play on Saturday at 7 p.m. I think I'll be on time after that game because I think my hockey game's early. So yeah, Saturday, 7 p.m. Stream will be around 9:30, 9:45 after the game, just about 30 seconds after the final horn. So come hang out at that point. With that, I hope you guys have a good night. Shout out to all of our members out there. I do appreciate if you want to join as a member. There's a little join button under the stream. Totally optional. And with that, I will see you next time.